Hello and welcome back. My name is Benjamin from engVid, and today we are looking at vocabulary and idioms from the world of showbiz, in particular dance. What better way to express the natural sort of joy of life than by dancing? Now, some of these phrases and idioms have a wider application than just the world of dance. So I'm going to be pointing those out to you so that you take away from this some really useful phrases and idioms to apply to your English. The richer and more varied your English becomes, the more you'll fit into conversations with natives, the more you can understand conversations, and the higher your marks will be if studying at exam level. If you do enjoy my videos, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. That way it can grow and we can continue to bring you top-rate quality. Okay, so one of the most popular television shows in the UK is called Strictly Come Dancing. And it's a very entertaining programme that's normally on each Saturday night in the autumn. And you will have an amateur dancer, normally a celebrity, paired with a professional dancer, and they'll be asked to do a particular dance each week. And I was watching some of the episodes earlier today, and I noted down some of the things the judges were saying, because the judges give comments about the dance, and they then give them a rating out of 10. So these are some of the phrases that are used. The whole shebang. This is an American phrase, and it means like the whole thing. Yep, the whole picture. Yep, you came up, you were wearing shiny shoes, your costume was fantastic, the way you moved was fantastic, your relationship with the partner was great, the feel of the music, you had it all. You had the whole shebang. Fiery hot. Yeah, wow. It was alive. Couldn't take my eyes off it. It was dynamic. It was like a force of nature. Whoa. The competition is heating up. So each week on this show, Strictly, one couple gets voted off. So because of that competition, yep, they're getting less and less people each week. So it's becoming more and more competitive as dancers of equal ability are competing against each other. So if the competition heats up, it means it's getting more competitive. One of the judges said, power, passion, precision. Now, from an English teacher's point of view, this is an interesting phrase because it combines two techniques. The rule of three, yeah, because we have like 1, 2, 3 words that mean not totally similar things, but he's using 3 to have an effect, a list of 3. And then he's also using alliteration with that plosive P sound. Power, passion, precision. What do they mean in the context of dance? Well, power, being strong physically. Passion, there seems to be like an emotion in the dance. Yep. It's not just like a robot. Yep. The dancer has put themselves in there and they are feeling the dance. They're telling a story. And precision. It's done very accurately. Yep. All the movements are exactly how they should be. Now, one of them, when they watched a not very good performance, said, you need to interpret the music. Interpret. So an interpreter looks at one language and say there is a conference and they're listening to a speech in German and they have to translate it into French. So an interpreter is taking the meaning from something and expressing it in another way. So if you're going to interpret the music, you need to, what you need to do is you need to really try and understand, well, what is the story here? And what does that mean to me? How am I going to make this like my dance? Yeah. It may have been done 100 years ago. How do I make it fresh and relevant for today's audience? I seem to have missed out this one here. Technically brilliant. Quite difficult to pronounce that word. Have a go. Technically brilliant. Technically brilliant. So it looks like it's going to be technically brilliant, but it's technically brilliant. If you are technically brilliant, then you're, this is the adverb. The noun is technique. It means your technique is brilliant. So you're standing in the perfect posture. All of the moves are exactly how they should be. It's like the person is opening a book of salsa moves and the person is doing each one. Sell it. Strictly Come Dancing has a live audience. Yep. The audience need to enjoy it. So, you know, this is not doing a dance that is just technically brilliant. You need to include the audience. Yeah, you need them to enjoy this dance. So you're selling it to them. You're not technically saying dance, £2, £3, who wants to dance? No. What you're doing is you're trying to get them to want you to do well. A dance-off. A dance-off is where you have two people in the middle dancing, and it's kind of like imagine it's kind of like boxing. It's like one person will do a few moves, this person will do a few moves. It's kind of like sparring, but with dancing. Yep, sparring when you're like practicing your punching, but obviously you're not hurting that person. You're just kind of having a informal competition on the dance floor. Sequins. I've got some sequins on this evening. These are shiny things. So if the dress or the shirt is covered in sequins, then it's shining with funny glittery things. Okay. To execute it well means to do the dance really, really well. Yep. Every single part has been carefully planned, carefully thought about, carefully practiced, and performed well. Yep, they did it well. But, you know, it's good level vocabulary to say to execute it well. Again, that's quite a sort of mouthful, that word. Can we try and say execute? Execute. To execute it well. You repeat, to execute it well. Okay, well, I wish I could hear you. Head placement. So when you're dancing, we've got to have a really good posture. Yep. So your head placement is like, is your head sort of over here like there? If you put it over here, the placement is how you're sort of carrying your head. Is it in the right position? Is it following your body? I'm no dancer, as you may be able to tell, but I know what that means. It means having it in the right place. Staccato. Now, if we have a piece of music, well, let's just have two notes. That's all I've got space for. Yep. Da-da, da-da. Yep. If we make it staccato, we have a little dot above it. Da-da, da-da. So there's more energy going into the articulation of those two notes. In the world of dance, rather than it being sort of smooth, it's it's sharper movement. Right, what I want to do with this list here is to just work out which of these can be used in a context outside of dance. The whole shebang, yeah, it means the whole thing. So if my driving instructor, I already know how to drive, I'm giving an example. If my driving instructor says to me, we're going to do a practice test today. We're going to do a turn in the road. We're going to do an emergency stop. We're going to do parallel parking, the whole shebang. We're going to do it. Yeah. So it means we're going to do everything. The whole shebang? Yes, I can use it in other contexts. Fiery hot. Now, that's maybe a little bit more, you wouldn't use it all the time. There's an excellent Mexican burrito place just around the corner from here. And if the food is really spicy, I might say, whoa, that is fiery hot. So to talk about spice, yes, you could use it. The competition is heating up. Now, you would not use this to talk about in business general competition, your competitors. No, it has to be part of an actual competition. Can it apply to competitions other than dance? Yes. Power, passion, precision. Sounds like a German car commercial. Of course that can be used in other contexts other than dance. As can the rule of three, as can alliteration. Power, passion, precision. Yeah, for me that sounds like a car advert. Technically brilliant. So maybe if you were listening to a piece of music and it was played just absolutely perfectly, yeah, you would say it was technically brilliant. Or if you read a friend's creative writing piece and they'd used metaphor, it was like perfectly spelt, there wasn't a word in there that shouldn't be in there, you could say that it's technically brilliant. If it had all the sort of literary devices in there. Yeah. Interpret the music. That is quite dancey. Perhaps your music teacher might say it to you, but it's quite specific, I would say that one. Sell it. Now, sell it can be used in all sorts of contexts. You could be saying to, I don't know, you're giving advice to a friend who's got their business. Sell it. You know, go on, promote it. Or, yeah, lots of things. We're trying to get people to enjoy them. So, yes, that can be used outside of the world of dance. A dance-off, well, that kind of says what it is. Sequins are a noun, so that doesn't really apply in other contexts. To execute it well, that could definitely be used in the world of business. So the strategy had been executed well. Head placement, that is a physical thing, so it could be used in other contexts, but it's going to mean the same thing. So maybe someone's playing cricket and they're trying to do a sort of a forward defensive shot here, but their head's over here, and the coach says, your head placement needs to be better. It needs to be right over the ball. Staccato. Well, I've said it's in music, can be in dance. Right. As I was saying, very important, as with all things, that we practice. It's important for you that you practice your English, your speaking, your writing, your listening, your reading, okay? If you enjoy dancing, you're going to need to practice that too. Now, I am aware that dance is an area where not that much speaking goes on during it, and even most people don't normally use words to ask someone if they want to dance. But if you want to use words, then informally you might say, fancy a dance? Meaning, would you like a dance? Fancy a dance? Fancy a dance? Or more sort of old-fashioned and formally, would you care to dance? Would you care to dance? To dance. Okay, good. Moving on to today's idioms. Now, as usual, I've only chosen the most relevant and idioms that have most usage in our modern language. I haven't put anything in here that I don't think you might be able to use. Footloose and fancy free. So this is the whole idiom here, and fancy free. Often it's abbreviated to just footloose. So my aunt might say to me, if I have an evening to myself and I have no responsibilities, she would say, footloose for the evening. What are you going to do with yourself? Footloose means I have no responsibilities. Quite rare in today's world. It takes two to tango. Now, the Argentine tango is a very passionate dance, and it certainly doesn't work with one person doing it on their own. It needs to be two. The phrase, the idiom, however, is used more like, I'm sure Joey didn't hit Alan for no reason. Yep, it takes two to have some sort of argument. Joey, what's the full story? What did you do? What did Alan do? Okay, so it takes two to tango. Both sides need to do something. Yep, it relies on both people to do something. Okay, yeah, well, it takes two to tango. Means yes, but you had some involvement in this as well as me. Okay. All singing, all dancing. Now, I made a lesson the other day about London's West End and some of the musicals that you might be able to go and see there. Now, some of those shows are huge, great big spectaculars with amazing music and sets and costumes and song and dancing. So if something is all singing, all dancing, then it does everything. It's like a total sort of beast. All singing, all dancing means like a really, really impressive piece of something, because it doesn't have to be entertainment. I could say to someone, wow, your presentation was all singing, all dancing. You know, it had sort of colourful letters, it had pictures in there, it had music, it had quotes, it had statistics. Ooh, that was some presentation. To be light on one's feet. For a big man, he's pretty light on his feet. To be light on one's feet means you can move around very smoothly. You're agile. Yep. You're not clumsy. You don't fall over. You don't trip over. To be light on one's feet. Yep. You move gracefully. Dancing to someone's tune. Now, if you're dancing to someone's tune, imagine it, yeah? We've got a drummer over there, and he's going, and I'm trying to dance to his or her tune, okay? So they are controlling what I am doing, essentially. You are following the lead from someone else. Dancing to someone's tune means kind of making them happy, doing what they want. To drag one's feet or heels. I don't really want to do this. Oh, really? Do I have to? To drag one's feet or heels means to express some reservations, lack of enthusiasm about what you have to do. Do you have to do it? Yes. Why? Because you want to learn English. So let's carry on. I've got some more idioms for you. Loads of good stuff. Loads of it. Where do you get loads of good English? Benjamin's engVid YouTube channel. That's where you get it. Benjamin on engVid. What do you need to do? Subscribe, share to people who are going to enjoy and learn. Right. Ready? To follow in someone's footsteps. That means to take an example from someone you respect. Normally, someone in your family. Perhaps your mother is a vet and you're like, oh, she's so good at that job and it's such a nice job, I'd like to do that. Or maybe it's someone outside of your family and you like the example of Abraham Lincoln being a fantastic president, and you like the way he was so fair and just and all those good things, and so you want to follow in his footsteps and make a difference to the world, to get into a groove, to get in a groove, to find your groove. So this is like maybe you've got some big task, like maybe you're a teacher and you've got to mark all these books, and the first one you're like, oh, I can't even read the writing, please. But by the second or third or fourth, you're like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm looking for this, yeah, spelling mistake here, okay, okay, cool, and I stopped thinking about it, and now I'm doing it, and it's less of a problem and it takes less time. So to get into a groove means to find a rhythm with a task that you are doing. To get off on the wrong foot. Here I am, I'm on Strictly Come Dancing. I've got the television pointing at me. I've got an audience in front of me. I'm about to dance the cha-cha-cha. And here I go, oh no, I stepped off to start with on the wrong foot. Now we use this idiom to talk about how starting a friendship with someone. If you get off on the wrong, or a business relationship, if you get off on the wrong foot, then you start badly. Maybe you say something totally inappropriate to start with, and then it upsets that person, and then you have to work hard to make it better. Yep, so we avoid this, or at least we try to. To give it a whirl. A whirl, yep, when you kind of whirl around, twirl around, whirl around. If you give something a whirl, you give it a go. So, how might we use this? Maybe your friend has been thinking about going to a calligraphy class, and they keep on talking about it, and you're like, just give it a whirl, see what happens, see if you like it, give it a whirl, give it a go. Okay? To have two left feet. If you've got two left feet, it's actually going to be quite difficult to dance, isn't it? It's not really working. So if you've got two left feet, that's an idiom that shows that you just find dancing really quite painful. It can often be used as an excuse, like, do you want to dance? Oh, no, you don't want to dance with me. I've got two left feet. To keep one's feet on the ground. So if you're keeping your feet on the ground, then you are staying steady, sensible. You're using common sense. You're not getting carried away with ridiculous ideas. Yeah, you're taking things gradually. To keep someone on their toes. So I'm dancing with someone, and we go over here, through the legs, do a jump. If I keep them on their toes, they just landed again, then they don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah. So if we're like this, we're sort of waiting and we're like a bit bored. But if we're on our toes, we're like, what's going to happen next? To keep someone on their toes, to keep them guessing and wanting to know what's happening next. What is happening next? Do you think? Okay. To make a song and dance out of something. Right. So, if you have to go from Balham to London Heathrow, then there are different ways that you could do it. But if you make a real song and dance out of getting there, then maybe you start going down the street and then you forget that you had something in the house, and so you go back and you get it, and then you start thinking, oh no, I'm running late, and then you start running and you get into a sweat, and then you miss the train, and then your keys fall out of your pocket. Yeah. If you make a song and dance out of something, then you're making a bit of a meal of it. You're making it more sort of effort than it needs to be. To sweep someone off their feet. So if you're doing that, then you are romancing someone, and you are sort of bowling them over with your wit and your charm and your conversation, to sweep someone off their feet, to sort of, to start a kind of a whirlwind romance. They're so in love with you and you're playing your cards right. To think on one's feet. Okay, so we're dancing. Yep, I'm not thinking here, I'm thinking here. What's the next dance move? Oh, maybe it's, yep, I've practiced this before. I go right, left, back. Yep, if you're thinking on your feet, you're making decisions in the moment. You're reacting to life and adjusting, okay? To think on one's feet, to react, to respond, to make decisions in the moment. To tread on someone's toes. I'm dancing here, the person is facing me. Oh, I'm so sorry, I stepped on your toes. If you tread on someone's toes, you're kind of getting into their space. Maybe they have a job that they quite enjoy doing and you're sort of doing something that they can do and they don't need you to do that. If you tread on someone's toes, yeah, you're not respecting people's sort of boundaries and their space. To strut one's stuff. So here I am, look, I've got my sequined hat, I've got my shirt, I'm like, yeah, look at me. I don't mind making a fool of myself, it's fine. If you're strutting your stuff, then you are putting your kind of going out clothes on and you're, feeling good in yourself and you're kind of showing off like who you are, okay? A bit like a cockerel, yep. A cockerel with their feathers behind them. Okay, cool. Well, you have had a huge amount of idioms. I pick them always because they're useful, so I'm looking for you guys to actually start using them, start listening to them, start noticing where they're used and the context they are used in. It's a journey and it's not just going to be cracked by you guys watching one YouTube video. This is like some inspiration for you guys to now go out and do some language work on your own, okay? But these videos come out every 3 weeks on my channel as a rough approximation. So if you're subscribed, then you'll get the next one then. Until then, happy dancing.